besties, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a part 2 of a video series. Is it really called a series if it's only 2 videos? I recently did a video where I read your favorite books of 2023 and I asked a bunch of you what your worst books of 2023 were, and I got a bunch of responses. I got well over 200 responses for this, definitely more than for the other video. And so I went through and I counted up everything that you guys said, and I am gonna read the most popular worst books, the books that showed up the most of people saying they didn't like them. I feel like that was a really convoluted way to say that. Y'all could not agree on what was the worst. There are not that many books that had 2 or more people voting for the same book. Okay, there are actually 3 books that had 5 people saying that they hated them. Twisted Love by Anna Huang, Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, and Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Fourth Wing is one of those books that showed up on both the best and worst lists, which isn't surprising for me. I feel like that's also gonna happen once all booktubers start releasing all of their best and worst. And then there were 2 books that 3 people said that they did not enjoy. That was Mayfly by CJ Lead and Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. As I said, I am basing this TBR off of the books that are the most popular for you guys saying that you hated it. I gotta find a better way to say that. But I'm actually gonna go ahead and eliminate all of the books that I've read previously from this entire list. And luckily for me, I've already read Fourth Wing. I did give it 5 stars. I'm not currently a Fourth Wing stan. I don't even want to get into it right now, but I promise when my DNF video comes out, when I talk about all the books that I didn't finish this year, I will touch my current feelings about Fourth Wing. Also, I'm very grateful to myself for already trying to read Twisted Love last year. This was one of the books that I DNF'd, and I talked about it in my DNF video. I simply will not be touching that book again. I DNF'd after 3 chapters. That book is not for me, and I simply am just not going to try to subject myself to it again when I know that I genuinely hate it and do not like it. Also, it's almost Christmas, and that would be so rude to myself to force me to read things that I really think I'm gonna hate. So with those 2 books being eliminated, that leaves 3 books for me to read as my TBR for this video. Icebreaker, because it had 5 votes, and then Project Hail Mary and Mayfly, because they were kind of in that secondary category where they got 3 votes. I am really scared of this TBR. Number 1, because I have never read an Andy Weir book. I did see The Martian in theaters when it came out many years ago. I feel like it came out in 2015. I have never felt compelled to read his books. I'm gonna be up front. He kind of gives dude bro energy, but I'm more nervous about Icebreaker and Mayfly. I actually can't decide which one makes me more nervous because they both have a lot of potential for me to hate them. Icebreaker, I am afraid it's gonna be very Wattpad-esque. I also do not trust book talk girlies as far as I can throw them. But then Mayfly is scary because it's extreme horror, and I've never read extreme horror before. And I have not had the best relationship with horror books this year. Also, for funsies, I am going to do an extended version of this on my Patreon. All of the rest of the books on this list had 2 votes. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and choose one that I wanna read that's kind of been on my TBR that I've been thinking about. And that is Wrong Place, Wrong Time. This has kind of been on my radar the entire year because a lot of people read it in 2022 and put it on their favorites list. And so I've just been wanting to read it. I know that Emily Fox and Meg with Books and a couple other people had put it on their favorites. And so it's just kind of been on my mind because I know that it has sort of a Groundhog Day plot where she keeps repeating things. I don't know what I think of that book because I haven't read it yet, but I'm gonna put the thumbnail here for whatever Patreon video I come up with, and I feel like that thumbnail will probably let you know what I thought of it. Okay, besties, I don't know, I think I'm 40% of the way through Project Hail Mary, and I gotta say, please tell me why you guys hate this book. I don't understand how 3 people wrote this down as a book that they don't like, because I am live, laugh, loving. It is giving. Honestly, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say thank you for saying you didn't love it because it made me able to read it for this vlog. I am having an amazing time. I don't really know how to talk about Project Hail Mary because I feel like you really can't say a lot about the plot. It's better to go in fairly blind. All you need to know is this book is about a guy who wakes up on a spaceship and he's been in a coma, and when he wakes up he doesn't know who he is and he has to figure out why he's on this spaceship. I feel like that's all you should really know about it. I don't want to tell you anything else because I feel like part of the excitement of the story is figuring out who he is and why he's there and what's going on. So I love the writing style, love it. I just think it's so funny. I love the audiobook narrator. The narrator is doing a really great job. He had to grow on me at first. I didn't like his voice. He sounds like an older gentleman and I wasn't enjoying that at first, but I feel like he's really good at doing voices. And so there's a couple of different voices that he's been doing that I have really enjoyed, different accents and stuff. So I feel like he did a really good job with that. And then I also surprisingly really like all the sci-fi elements. So this book is heavily science-based. A lot of what the main character thinks to himself is scientific theories and formulas, and there's a lot of math and things that he says, and half the time I'm I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm having a really great time. So I like this. I'm really sorry to whoever said this wasn't your favorite book, like you hated this. Like this was your worst book? Like you put the word worst in front of book? Am I judging? Maybe a little bit, because this is literature. I am having a great time. Also unrelated, I had to go to the office today, so I had to wear real clothes, which I like literally never wear real clothes. You guys might think I wear real clothes because a lot of times in videos I wear a cute top. I guess I wear t-shirts sometimes, but let me just tell you that t-shirts and sweatshirts and sweatpants are kind of my uniform when I'm at home. But I had to wear a real outfit today, and I'm wearing the cutest skirt right now, so I kind of want to show you. I don't know if you guys can see it at this angle. Okay, I think this angle is gonna be better because I think I can back up. I gotta back up real far so you can see my feet. Is this too far? Okay, maybe that's too far. Okay, look at this skirt. It's so cute. I got it from Hot Topic. I've been shopping at Hot Topic a lot lately, and she's giving. I like literally love this skirt. It's giving whimsy goth, is it not? Like, oh my god, 90s queen. Am I gonna like be in Practical Magic? Like, I feel like I am Nicole Kidman in Practical Magic. Also, I don't know if you can see the pattern from that far away, but there's like butterflies on this, and I am a whore for butterflies. I love butterflies. Oh, I almost just fell over. But yeah, I love this outfit. It has nothing to do with Project Hail Mary, but it's so cute. And I got a lot of compliments at work today. I'm currently getting ready for my work holiday party, but I thought I'd just let you guys know that I finished Project Hail Mary yesterday and I loved it. I'm giving it 5 stars, and I think I might put on my favorites of this year. It was just so wholesome. I loved it. It was really good. It was really good. I loved it. I can't even believe that multiple people put this on their worst. I was like, what do you mean? Like, did we read the same book? Like, what are you like talking about? Like, what are you on? Oh my god, I'm so happy. Like, I didn't really have this very high up on my TBR. I'm gonna be upfront. I don't think I ever really intended to read Project Hail Mary. Like, I don't know, Andy Weir just doesn't really like speak to me. And I don't know, there was just something, I don't know, about him. I didn't watch it. I don't really like to read male authors too much. Sorry if that's controversial. I just don't gravitate to male authors very much, and I don't read a ton of sci-fi, so I think it just like wasn't really like on my radar to read. I loved it. I loved it, and I don't really know what else to say about it. I've actually moved on to the next book, so I think we could move on to talking about that. So I have started Mayfly, and I am on chapter 6 out of 51 chapters. So I'm not too far into it. Like, I'm just at the beginning, and I think I like it so far. The writing style is interesting. There are times that I kind of feel like the author is like trying too hard with like the writing, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, there's like some of the prose just feels a little try hard. I don't know if this book was like self-published or traditionally published. I don't know much about it. I just know that people have been reading it this year, and some people have been raving about it, and then obviously a couple of people did not agree with those reviews because it's on this list of books that you guys thought were bad. It's about this girl named Maeve, and she's just kind of like a little bit of a weirdo. Like, she's giving she doesn't really fit in with society. She works at Disney World, except for it's not said explicitly, because I do feel like the author did not want to get sued for talking about Disney. But she plays Elsa at the park, but she specifically lives in LA, so I guess she's at Disneyland, not Disney World. Did I say Disney World? Anyway, she works at Disneyland and she plays Elsa, and we learned that she lives with her grandmother, and her grandmother is like her favorite person in the whole world, and then she has this best friend named Kate, who's her other favorite person in the whole world. She has some weird proclivities that I'm learning. Like, she was like masturbating at one point to some weird porn, and then a video of a wolf hunting a rabbit, and then also she was like doxing this woman on the internet at the same time. So she's got some interesting hobbies for sure. I can definitely see what people are saying. Like, Katie Coulson specifically said this is like American Psycho for the girlies, and so far I am kind of getting American Psycho vibes, because Maeve is talking a lot about how like people in LA are like so fake and they're always performing, and that kind of I've only seen American Psycho like once, like a really long time ago, like when I was a really young teenager, so I can't claim to remember everything about Patrick Bateman, but I do remember that being a thing because it's like takes place in the 80s, and he's like, you know, kind of like critiquing like yuppie culture and stuff. I think I'm gonna go to my work holiday party, and then maybe I'll update you guys later when I get home if I read more of it. The drive to the restaurant that I have to go to is like 30 minutes, so I might get a little further into the book, and I'm gonna listen right now while I finish my makeup. Besties, I have both a warning and a tip for you. The warning is, when you go to your work holiday party, don't drink 4 margaritas. I had to call Aaron and ask him to come get me, so him and one of his friends had to drive together so his friend could drop him off and then Aaron could drive my car. But I went to bed very drunk, but that didn't stop me from finishing Mayfly. I actually finished the entire book while I was drunk. I like put my headphones in and I just laid in the dark and I finished the book. And guys, I don't know who I am because I kind of loved it. I had a great time. This is my first extreme horror, And apparently it's considered splatterpunk. I was reading some reviews and someone said that. I guess I could see that because it is kind of gory in the way that Maeve kills people. But I don't really remember what I said yesterday about the book when I was getting ready and like talking about it. I know that I was like weirded out because I wasn't very far and I had just read that scene where she like masturbates to the overstimulation with like the wolf hunting the rabbit and the BDSM gay porn and all sorts of nonsense. Like it was very crazy. And then I got a little further in the book and Maeve met Gideon, her friend's brother. Who was gonna tell me that this was a hockey romance? Something I'm learning about myself is I think I might love hockey romance because I read one last year and I loved it. And then I read this and I kind of loved it. Honestly, I kind of would classify Mayfly as like dark romance. I was live, laugh, loving. I was giggling. I was having an amazing time. Honestly, I thought I was gonna rate this 5 stars. And oh, I guess my hot tip for you, what I was saying earlier about how I had a warning and then a tip. My tip is to read Mayfly while you're drunk because it is just such a wild, insane ride. If you're inebriated, you're going to be having a great time. At least I was. The only thing I didn't like, I hated actually, was the ending. I did not like the ending. So I think I'm gonna be giving it 4 stars. And I definitely want to read more from CJ Lead because if I'm not mistaken, this is a debut novel. And I definitely want to see more from this author because I feel like Mayfly had some like pacing issues. Also, I feel like the framing of these shots right now are just not very good. Also, I'm wearing a Halloween shirt even though it's December. Anyways, what was I saying? What was I saying? Oh, I was saying that the pacing was a little all over the place. And I feel like there definitely could have been more work done to make Maeve a more believable character. Like, I loved it. Do not get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. Like, I loved that this was kind of American Psycho for the girlies. I feel like American Psycho is like the perfect comp title for this. I definitely could see people not liking this. Like, if this was on your worst list, I kind of get it because there is a little bit of like sloppiness to it, if that makes sense. Like, the plot was a little bit all over the place, but for me, it worked. It worked. I loved Maeve. I loved her fucked up brain. The whole ending of the book, well, not the ending because I don't like the ending, but like when all the crazy stuff is happening, I was having a great time. Also, this is not a good for her story. Like, if you think you're gonna read this and you're gonna be like, wow, Maeve is so in the right for everything she does, like, go girl. No, Maeve is just unhinged. But I don't know, guys, it worked for me. And I feel like it's the perfect read for Halloween because it takes place during Halloween time. And Maeve loves Halloween. She loves like Halloween music. She's decorating for Halloween, like right after she kills someone in this book. It's so good. And then, like I mentioned, the romance. I loved it. I shipped her and Gideon. I really did. I really, truly did. I don't really have much more to say besides that I just didn't love the pacing and I felt like the ending could have been better. But overall, a very strong 4 stars from me. I do not know what it says about me that I have given so many serial killer books 4 or 5 stars this year. I think there's literally been like 4 of them. That's kind of crazy, right? Is this because I'm a white woman? Is it because I used to listen to true crime podcasts and I gave that up, so now I have to read fictional serial killers? Honestly, I would say I feel a lot better reading fictional serial killers than I do listening to true crime. I don't listen to true crime that often anymore. Not to say that every true crime podcast out there is bad, but a lot of it kind of gives me the ick. Like, I was never really a My Favorite Murder girly because I just feel like the women who hosted that podcast were like so unserious for talking about murder the way that they did. And so I never was really into that podcast, but there was a couple I used to listen to. And I don't know, I just kind of stopped. And I feel like now I'm like re-entering my serial killer era, but like in a more safe, non-exploitive way to victims, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know, that was a random tangent and that has nothing to do with this book. I guess it does have something to do with this book. What am I saying? I don't know, my brain is not firing on all cylinders still. Anyway, I'm gonna go recover from the margaritas. I had to work today and so that's why I'm like laying in bed now. Another hot tip I have for you is I recently got a heating blanket. Get yourself a heating blanket that is the size of your bed. This is a queen size heating blanket and I just be cozying up in it at night. Like, a picture this, Sarah's drunk as fuck, laying in her bed with her eyes closed, with her AirPods in, listening to Mayfly, and I'm just like under the heating blanket. It was just such a toasty, wonderful, cozy time, even though Maeve was bludgeoning people to death. You're as cold as ice. Besties, I think we might have a case of the body snatchers. Why am I kind of enjoying Icebreaker. As you know, Icebreaker was the book I was the most scared to read in this vlog. Well, technically maybe Mayfly. It was kind of a toss-up between the two. I couldn't really decide which one I was most scared to read. I think with Icebreaker I was just scared because it was like a 500-page book, and my interpretation of it, because it was recommended by Book Talk, was that it was going to be very like Wattpad-esque, and so I was just scared. Is it 500 pages? I don't know. It's very long though. It's way too long for romance. I need romance authors to understand your book should not exceed 350 pages. After 350 pages, I actually need you to put the pen down, stop tippy-tapping away on your keyboard, because enough is enough. That's too long. I'm not live, laugh, laughing to the full extent, but I'm not like having a bad time. Why do I kind of like it? So in this book, we're following two main characters. We've got Stassi, which by the way is an ugly nickname. Her name is Anastasia, but she goes by Stassi. Don't love that. The guy's name is Nate. So Nate's a hockey player and Stassi is a figure skater. And if you know anything about me, actually you probably would never know this about me because I've never said this on my channel, but when I was a child, the movie Cutting Edge, which is an amazing feature-length film about an ice skater and a hockey player becoming rink partners, like dance partners, skating partners. I'm not using the right words here, but they like had to skate together for some reason. I don't remember why. I think it was because he like couldn't be in the NHL anymore, and so he still wanted to skate, and so someone was like, be an ice skater. I don't know. That movie had a death grip on me as a child, and so as I was getting into this, I was like, am I gonna get Cutting Edge? And for the first half of it, no. So the plot originally is that someone messes up one of the ice rinks at this college, and they have a very prominent hockey team and then like figure skating program, and so now they have to share a rink, and so because they're sharing a rink, it's like affecting everyone's schedules and stuff. Nate very quickly gets an interest in Stassi, but she's very grumpy. It's very Grumpy Sunshine where she's grumpy and he's sunshine. Like he's very obsessed with her like from day one, and it's a little bit insta-lovey, honestly. Like I was not like super into that. The plotting is all over the place, the pacing all over the place, but let me tell you, now that I'm at the 60% mark, guess what I'm getting? Guess what I'm getting? The plot has changed. It is the Cutting Edge. It literally is. Like Nate becomes her skating partner because of some things that go down. Also, what's weird is the first part of this book has so much sex in it. Like every other scene was sex, and I was like, okay. Then halfway through, when they start skating together, they stop having sex. And now I'm like, oh my god, tension, love it. It's just really backwards. This is what I mean when I say the plot is kind of all over the place. I don't really understand why she did it this way. Why am I not hating this book? I know I said it the other day when I was talking about Mayfly. I think I might love hockey romance. I think hockey romance might be my genre, because I also read a hockey romance last year that I absolutely loved. It was this random one called The Penalty Box by Odette Stone, and I ate that shit up. So I'm like, damn, do I like hockey? I think I might like hockey. It's weird. It's like on par with like a Tessa Bailey book. Like I think I would probably rate this 3 stars as far as my reading experience has been so far. Again, it is far too long. It's far too long. I definitely think Miss Hannah Grace could have used an editor, but like, who am I? What accent was that? I don't know what accent that is. But literally, who am I? Did you think Sarah Without an H would be enjoying Icebreaker? Because I thought this was gonna be a bunch of laughs. Like I thought I was gonna be making fun of it. And now I'm reading it and I'm like, tell me more. Okay, Mr. Hockey Man, tell me more. Is it the best piece of literature I've ever read in my life? No, it is definitely not. But I'm just so shocked by how much I don't dislike it that it's kind of making me feel like I like it. Also because I've just read so much bad romance. Obviously that's been very much self-inflicted this year because I did all of those like subgenre videos. But now I'm like, oh my god, do I need to do a sports romance video where I only read hockey romance? I think I might need to do that. Please let me know what your favorite hockey romance is down below in the comments, because I have to look into this genre a bit more. I really do. Also, ice skating romance counts as well. Like anything on the ice, which is weird because I hate ice skating and I hate ice and I hate cold and I hate winter. Miss Billy also kind of likes it. Honestly, if Billy could read, we'd have the same exact book opinions because she's my little angel girl. I'm currently dog sitting, and this is my friend Emily's dog, Mabel. She's a little cutie patootie. She was actually in the last video I did where I read my subscribers' best books of this year, and I am dog sitting her again because Christmas is actually this weekend, and Emily and Jason went out of town. So she's just a little sweetie girl, so she's gonna sit here while I talk about Icebreaker because I finally finished it and I gave it 3 stars. I am so shocked that I liked it. I feel like I already talked about this a lot, about how much I was like not hating it. I have to make it very clear. I didn't love this book. I don't think it's the best book that I've ever read. I wouldn't even necessarily recommend it. I just didn't hate it. And honestly, of all the Book Talk books that get hyped up and everyone's like, you have to read it, this is probably one of the least offensive. We're talking about people who recommend like Haunting Adeline and Penelope Douglas. Like, these people are also recommending Icebreaker, and I gotta say, Icebreaker is the better out of all of them. And I understand you might sit here and go, okay, well, comparison doesn't make it a good book. No, it doesn't make it a good book, but like, genuinely, as someone who had to put myself through it, because it was a very, very long book. I'm gonna actually put the actual page number on the screen, but it was way too long for what the book was. I also felt that the biggest issue that was going on was it was just very cyclical. Like, it took a long time, but I did really enjoy Stassi and Nathaniel's relationship. I feel like Nate was just a really sweet little cinnamon roll kind of boy. Like, he loved her so much and took care of her, and I really, really appreciated their communication style. I feel like they were always talking about how they felt, and the whole book, Stassi actually had a therapist, and so there was a lot of like discussing, well, you did this and it made me feel this way. Oh, and when I say this, I didn't mean to make you feel like that. And they were just really like dissecting things. And I gotta say, if this is the book that the TikTok girlies want to be reading, I honestly think they should continue to read it, because this might be one of the only books that has like therapy representation, an actual like very nice, healthy love interest. Like, I don't know, I feel like we should let them read a healthy romance. I really do. So ultimately, I don't think this book was that bad, and I understand some of you might be in the comments with some pitchforks and you're gonna be like, that book was horrible. Like, I literally was talking with my friend Katie, the one that was in my drunk literacy, if you watched it. She was like, oh my god, Icebreaker is the worst book that I read this year, and I was like, really? Because you read Haunting Adeline this year? Which she didn't like that either. She like was talking about how much she hated Stassi and all these things, and I was like, I just genuinely didn't think it was that bad. Like, were there times that Stassi was kind of annoying? Sure, but these characters are also only like 21 years old. Like, they're very young, they're in college. So I don't know, I just didn't really expect a lot out of this book, and I didn't hate it. There was a lot of smut. Like, if you want some pornography, then you should definitely pick this book up, because it's super long and almost every other scene is a sex scene. I will say each sex scene is not super long or detailed, so it's a lot of very like short sex scenes, but there's like dirty talk and a lot of different things. Like, there's whipped cream at one point. There's a lot of different things going on. I think ultimately it was a little bit sloppy, it was a little bit messy. I can definitely tell that this book was originally self-published, but overall I didn't hate it. Definitely won't be recommending it. Like, I'm not trying to say this was my favorite book ever. It was fine. So 3 stars from me, baby. Also, side note, unrelated, I actually need to show you this t-shirt that Katie got me for Christmas. We did like a little gift exchange yesterday. Is this not the cutest thing you've ever seen? I literally cried when she gave it to me, because I was like, oh my god, my little baby girl Billy. For those of you who don't know, my dog's full name is Billie Eilish. I feel like every once in a while I have to reintroduce her, because I've gotten a lot of subscribers this year. But that pretty much brings me to the end of this reading vlog. If you've made it to the end and you enjoyed it, feel free to use the cowboy emoji in honor of this one picture of Billy. This is my actual favorite picture of her. And if you're really just wanting more of this concept, then you can go ahead and join my Patreon on the besties tier. I do have an exclusive extended video where I read Wrong Place, Wrong Time. And honestly, you know what this book is giving? It's giving boy mom. Like, the alternative title should be boy mom. I feel that perhaps I was in the wrong place, wrong time. This is what I hate about domestic thrillers. Like, why do these married couples hate each other? Like, that is actually the scary part of these thrillers. Surprisingly, I liked everything that I read in this video, but that book, it was interesting. But thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.